Hi, this is Erika with Chronicles of Yarnia, and today we're going to be talking about the Slip Slip Knit Decrease. The Slip Slip Knit Decrease will create a slant in your work if you're trying to make something smaller at one end. It's usually paired with the knit two together stitch. So you'll have, for example, knit one, slip slip knit to the last three stitches, then knit two together, knit one. So that creates a sort of even decrease on both sides. I'm going to be showing you this with Wool and the Gang's Crazy Sexy Wool, which is a yarn that I love. I've used it before in making a sweater. Their Wonder Wool sweater pattern, which is also great and really easy for beginners if you want to learn how to make a sweater. This is actually for another sweater that Wool and the Gang designed that I'm going to be making in the next couple of months. So I got about 6 or so skeins of this, and I'm going to be putting that together into a sweater. But I'm using this for the purpose of showing you Slip Slip Knit today because it's quite large and will be very visible on the camera. So without further ado, this is the Slip Slip Knit Decrease.
So here I have a piece of work that's about 5 inches wide. In this yarn it's about 2 stitches per inch with my gauge. So I have about 10 stitches here, or exactly 10 stitches. It ends up being 5 inches, 10 to 15. So I'm going to show you the slip slip knit decrease as well as the knit two together decrease. So I'm just going to go ahead and continue in the pattern, knitting 1. And then I'm going to start the slip slip knit, which means I'm going to slip knitwise 1 stitch. I have 1 extra stitch on my needle. I'm going to slip purlwise from top to bottom, next stitch, so I've got 2 slip stitches on the needle. I'm going to take my left hand needle, slip it into the slipped stitches like so. My left hand needle is in front, my right hand needle is in back, and my working yarn is in back. My working yarn is going to wrap around the right hand needle, pull through the 2 slip stitches, and then you have a slip slip knit decrease. Let me show you one more time. I'm going to undo my work, put the stitches back on the needle, and we're ready to go again. So let's try slip slip knit. Remember, it's slip knitwise, slip purlwise, slip both stitches onto the left hand needle, if I can. Let me see here. Here we go. Left hand needle is in front. Sorry, a little technical difficulty. Okay, left hand needle is in front, right hand needle is in back, working yarn is in back, working yarn wraps around the right hand needle and pulls through the 2 stitches, and the 2 stitches come off the left hand needle. And there's your slip slip knit decrease. I'm going to continue to show you what it looks like after it's been worked a little bit. It may vary depending on what your pattern is, but usually a slip slip knit will happen at the end of a piece of work, a flat piece of work, or if you're doing socks, you might have a slip slip knit near the heel. But actually I'm going to stop there because I have 3 stitches left on my left hand needle. So with those 3 stitches, I'm going to do knit 2 together and a knit 1. And this is just the kind of mirror image of slip slip knit. So you're going to take your right hand needle, put it into the 2 stitches on the end of your needle, wrap around, pull through, and pull off the needle. That creates a right leaning decrease. And I'm going to knit the last stitch because that's what my pattern calls for. And it's kind of difficult to notice at this point, but if you lay it on this Olfa cutting mat here, you see that it's thinner at this end than it is here. It's narrower here than it is here. Here it goes to about 5 inches, which are these bold yellow lines right here, and up here it goes to the next measurement, which is a 1/2 inch increment in. So if you're using a smaller yarn, you're not going to notice that big a difference unless you lay it out and measure it. but you will notice a difference eventually if you continue doing slip, slip, knit. So now I'm going to do a regular row. So usually if you're doing a decrease row, it will call for a regular row, either of knitting or purling, depending on whether you're doing garter stitch or stockinette stitch, or something more complex. So I'm just going to do this regular row here of purling because we want the knit stitches to be on the right side of the work, the front of the work. That is a purl row right there. So kind of rearrange, stretch them out and see what they look like. And you can actually see the decrease a little bit better once you've done your regular row because you have 2 decreased rows in a row, for lack of a better word. This goes to 5 inches, and you can see it sort of get to 4 inches down here and 4 inches here. And now I'm going to show you what a further decrease looks like if you continue doing slip, slip, knit. So here we are on the right side of the work. This is stockinette stitch. There's garter stitch on the end here, but we're not really focusing on that. This stockinette stitch is the all knit stitches here, where it's knit on one side and then purled on the other side. So you see the purl bumps are on the back side, knit stitches are on the front. So we're going to go into slip, slip, knit again. So I'm going to knit 1, just because that's what my pattern calls for. Yours might not. I'm going to slip knitwise, slip purlwise, and then stick my left hand needle into the 2 slipped stitches, left needle on top, right needle is on bottom, working yarn wraps around the right hand needle, pulls through the 2 stitches, and there you have slip, slip, knit. In order to see what we've done, I'm going to continue knitting up to the last 3 stitches. Since I only did 10 stitches to start with, I've only got 7 stitches now. It would have been 8, but I decreased 1. So now I'm going to decrease, knit 2 together on this side, knit 2 together, knit 1, and we've got another decreased row. And I'm going to go through a regular row here. The yarn is getting caught. There we go. Wrap around, pull through, in, wrap around, pull through. Purling is the mirror image of knitting. You're creating a knit stitch on the other side of what your work is. So if you're purling on one side, it will be a knit stitch on the other side. And there you have it. A nice slope. You see the knit stitches are slanting to the left where the slip, slip knits happened. And then on this side, they're slanting to the right where the knit 2 together happened. And of course, since I knit an extra stitch before slip, slip, knit and after knit 2 together, I have an extra row here. That's simply an aesthetic thing that goes with this pattern, but you don't have to do it that way. You can slip, slip, knit to start with if you want. This just gives it more of a balanced look, and I think it creates a nicer finished product. So there you have your decrease. We started at 5 inches and we're down to 3. So we decreased 2 inches for 4 stitches, which is correct since my gauge was 2 stitches per inch, and we decreased 2 rows. So that's slip, slip, knit. I hope you've learned how to decrease, and I wish you luck in your knitting in the future. Happy knitting!